Chrono Clock.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Chrono Clock. And today we're going to start Miyu's route, the last route of this visual novel. So without further ado, let's jump to the very first multiple choice segment of this VN. And here we are, and as you can see, there is a second option now. Turn back time. I would turn back time. I had resigned myself to this outcome, but now my resignation was gone. I tightened my grip on the pocket watch in my hand. And yet, no matter how hard I held onto that pocket watch, I couldn't bring myself to smash it against the ground. Something was stopping me. All I had done up to this moment was stopping me. I had used the power of the pocket watch for nothing but trivial things. But no matter how many of my own desires I had indulged, the feeling gnawed at me that I couldn't do something to destroy another person's future. I just couldn't. It really was something utterly beyond the pale. Miyu's perseverance and Shuji's iron will had been seared into my heart. Those respective qualities they had were pinning my arms down, and I felt grateful for those qualities. I don't need a special power to make decisions for myself. I don't need a special power to fix my mistakes. At this very moment, this very instant, I am standing here. And so, throwing away my will to change the past, I summoned the will to change the future.
私は先輩のことが
Miyu! Miyu spun around on a dime, as if she had been waiting for me to call out. The complicated expression she wore on her face laid all of her emotions bare. I had released my grip on the pocket watch in my fist and reached out to grab something much more important, her arm. Miyu, I love you! Please go out with me! Miyu let out a bewildered gasp. Come on, Miyu, surely you could have given me a better reaction than that. My attention was so dead set on Miyu that I didn't notice the pocket watch hit the ground with a metallic sound, having fallen from my hand. It wasn't a far enough fall to smash it, so time did not turn back, and yet...
Hey, senpai.
Having been distracted for a brief moment, my brain suddenly processed that I was still holding onto Miyu's arm. I felt sweat dripping down the back of my neck. My body was burning up, but it was that heat which pushed me forward.
ねえ先輩、今のは
Tears welled up in her eyes. I gently smiled as a sliver of hope began to replace the shock on her face. In my memories of everything was connected.
いつか迎えに来てください。
Back when everyone else's timelines had converged, of course only my memories with Miyu would have been missing. This is the beginning. Therefore, this is the end. After finally becoming a man worthy of standing beside Miyu, I had returned to this point in time. Miyu, I finally caught up to you.
Huh?
I made a promise.
約束
Miyu repeated my words back at me in confusion. She still didn't quite understand what was happening. But before I could explain everything to her, I had to tell Shuji something. Shuji, forgive me. I can't just stand here and watch while the girl I like confesses to another guy. I blurted out the thought which had crossed my mind, devoid of alteration. Shuji's eyes widened. But then, my best friend just gave me a smile.
何気にするな。
It is to me.
じゃあ明日ジュースでもおごれ。
Alright. Shuji turned to leave, but then he stopped for a moment.
ああ、鈴木みゆだったな。
Miyu was torn as to whether she should pay attention to the guy who had her by the arm, or the other guy who was talking to her. Normally, I might have let go of her arms so she could talk to him, but right now, I didn't want to let go. Shuji gave a wry smile.
そのままでいいから聞いてくれ。
はい。
俺が言うことじゃないかもしれないんだけど、そいつはまあバカだがいいやつだ。ちょっと電波入ってて行き当たりばったりで欲望に素直すぎてバカだけど、変なところで責任感はある。
Did he just call me a dumbass twice in a row? Of course, I knew that thought was best left unsaid.
だからそいつの彼女になる子は幸せだと思う。余計なお世話なのは分かってるんだが、一応な。はい、
ありがとうございます。
じゃあな。
Shuji casually waved us goodbye. Miu wasn't watching him leave, so he must have been waving to me. It was as if he were saying, "Take care of her, dude." So I nodded back, as if to say, "I will." And so Shuji left for real this time, the large, heavy doors swinging shut behind him. But I only knew it had closed from the sound. Miu and I were staring intensely at each other. Miu started laughing, as if she had been holding it back this whole time. What's with you?
さっきの石田先輩のレイ先輩への評価ってどこかで聞いたことがある話でしたね。
Oh jeez. The first time I saved Miu, I did indeed end up saying something very similar to what Shuji had just said about me. You know, when he was talking about me back there, I felt like he wasn't complimenting me at all.
ちゃんと褒められてましたよ。
So then, what's your answer?
答え？
Miu giggled and cocked her head to the side. Come on, she's not going to make me believe for a second that she'd forgotten about the confession I just made to her. She must be teasing me. I certainly made her wait a long time for this. Miu, I love you. Please go out with me.
レイ先輩、顔真っ赤。
I will not be saying that a third time.
もっと言ってくださいよ。
I refuse.
いいじゃないですか。減るものじゃないですよ。
It'll hurt me right here in my chest.
言ってくださいよ、レイ先輩。
I absolutely refuse.
いいじゃないですか。ね。ね。ね。
Miu, I never knew you could get this excited over something.
だってこんなに嬉しいこと生まれて初めてで。
That's when I pulled Miu into my embrace. Her body was so light, it was easy to pull her into my arms and kiss her. Her lips, her cheeks, her whole body, Miu felt so warm and soft. And her girlish scent was overwhelming. Miu was so surprised that she struggled against me for a moment, but I held onto her. And then, as Miu finally seemed to process what was happening, she moved closer and wrapped her arms around me, returning my own embrace. I felt her lips moving, like she was trying to tell me something. But I wasn't ready to let her speak right now. The kiss was one of such overwhelming joy, joy that seeped so deeply into my heart that I never wanted to let her go. Miu finally seemed to wordlessly accept my kiss. To be perfectly honest, I wanted to try using my tongue, but for my first kiss with her, that felt kinda... Nyeh, what harm could it do? But would it be alright? Why was I thinking about this? It was far from the right time or atmosphere to be thinking about such things, but I also knew this long, wistful saga of mine was finally...
ほう？そのまま繁殖行為でもするか？
Muff! At that unexpected voice, I completely lost my composure. I quickly pushed Miu away so that I wouldn't cough in her face. Gak, ack! Sorry. Miu was blushing and evidently still trying to regain her composure because I wasn't supporting her weight anymore. How could someone be so adorable?
おや、邪魔したか。
Glaring at Crow, I held up my hand at her as if to say, not now. I totally forgot. If Crow had been watching my confession all this time, then she is going to laugh at me for sure. Though, in this timeline, I suppose Crow isn't human, is she? Even if I understand how the me of right now is different from the me of all that time before, it's still quite a strange feeling.
レイ先輩。
When Miu finally got her grip on reality back, she was staring up at me in a daze.
今のは。
I just told you, I'm not going to say it a third time.
だからっていきなり口を塞ぐのはずるいです。でも言葉で言われるより好きって気持ちわかりました。だから改めまして私もレイ先輩のことが好きです。大好きです。大好きです。私はあなたの彼女にしてください。
Of course I will. Then we kissed again. July, summertime. On that day, standing on the rooftop, the one place in all the school reaching closest to the sky, I found somebody to love. Seriously? That's it? Come on! Miu deserves more than this. I mean, I've heard that Miu's route is shorter than the others, but I didn't think it would be this short. That's kinda disappointing. Oh well, I guess I'll see you at the epilogue then.
やり直しができるならすぐ伝えたい何回でも言えるほど勇気はないんだけど抱きしめるよりもキスをして時間の流れを追い越すほどあの約束の日をずっと覚えてる何度でも君を好きになるいつだって私が先だから今日から独り占めするの君だけど二人の時間さえも
And then, even after our happy ending, summer moved on. Well, nothing that important happened. Life was good. Correction. Life was too good to be true. One could say, We were madly in love.
じゃあレイ先輩が美咲ちゃんや誠先輩とお付き合いしている別の世界があるんですね。
Having told Miyu about the other timelines I'd been through, she sounded quite impressed. We were spending our free time on the roof as always. Miyu made lunch for me earlier today, in accordance with my request to be able to eat the first homemade lunch she made for me as her lover. It's kinda weird. It's like there's multiple different versions of me, yet they're all still the same person as me. I rubbed my belly and lazily nodded. The lingering deliciousness of the lunch Miyu made for me earlier was still in my mind. The quantity, taste, and care put into it were all perfect. It filled me with satisfaction. But I still have all the memories from those other times, so I didn't want to hide it from you.
レイ先輩のことだけど、私の目の前にいるレイ先輩のことじゃないって理解できてると思います。
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I had a feeling she would handle this revelation smoothly. She had expressed her interest on the matter in the other timelines as well, after all.
存在の揺らぎを直接観察できるなんてありえないことですからね。すごいな、いいな。そうなった時の脳の活動って一体どうなってるんでしょうね。記憶や思いには形がないようにイメージされがちですけど、物理的なへこみでなかったとしてもどこかに保存はされていないとおかしいですもんね。重なった状態なら意識そのものも量子化してるんでしょうか。あ、電気信号みたいに無線でもつながっていればその場に実体が伴ってなくてもいいのかな。レイ先輩が起点になっていたということは、レイ先輩そのものが観測者としてみんなの意識を決定していたのかもしれませんしもしかしたら私たちの考える神様よりももっと高次の何かが観察していてくれたのかもしれませんね。
I smiled at Miyu while quietly listening to her talk. There was nothing I could say after all. I hadn't the foggiest idea what she was talking about. Kronos had intended for Crow to act as an intermediary when she communicated with humans, but perhaps Miyu would have been able to communicate directly with Kronos somehow. Well, either way, it was nice to see Miyu this happy while she indulged in her curiosity. I want to be together with her forever, so I'm glad I didn't keep this from her.
とはいえ、よほど気軽に打ち明けたものだ。
Crow floated down to where I could see her. It isn't of any concern to you if other people know about your existence, right?
ない。そもそも今まで我が輩のことを隠していたのはお主の都合であろう。
I guess so, but you were pretty cute in another timeline yourself, Crow.
人間として生きる我が輩の話は興味深いが、それこそ今の我が輩には関係のないことだ。
Doesn't it seem mysterious to you? I expected her to try to assert her authority when I brought up that topic, since that timeline was the only one where I was in a position of power over her. However, Crow just shrugged her shoulders without a care in the world.
我が輩の認識からすれば、自己を一つのものとしてしか認識できないお主らの思考が不自由だがな。
Christ, I wish I could just shove that parfait down your goddamn throat right now.
今クロさんがいるんですね。
Miyu looked around, trying to figure out who I was looking at and talking to. Yep.
こんにちは、クロさん。
こちらの声が聞こえぬのなら挨拶に意味はなかろう。
Crow says hi too. I translated Crow's words in a more tactful way to Miyu.
まあよい。我が輩もご主人の話に興味があったが、大体のことが分かって満足した。
Then quieted down for a while.
ふふ。我が輩にイチャイチャしているところを見られていると、ご主人は恥ずかしいらしいしな。
It was embarrassing, hence why I chose not to respond. Crow grinned as she floated up to a slightly higher altitude.
どんな話をしてるかはレイ先輩の言葉でなんとなくわかりますけど見えない人を探すのはちょっとみちるちゃんの気分ですね。
Yeah, Michiru has that problem sometimes too. Since she tries to determine their position from the direction of their voice, sometimes she'll end up looking the wrong way while talking to them. I kept up the conversation as casual as could be. In all honesty, now that I had finally found a girlfriend, Crow's existence could certainly be a pain in the ass at times. If I wanted to do something or other with her, I could never be completely sure of when Crow might pop up and ruin the mood. Well, putting that aside, your lunch really was delicious. I rubbed my belly appreciatively.
ちょっと量が多かったでしょうか。
I guess so. I didn't want to waste any of the food you made for me, but next time it'd be nice if you went easy on my stomach.
今日は自分でも作りすぎちゃったのは分かってたんです。初めてのお弁当でレイ先輩に喜んでほしくて、ついあれもこれもって。
Well, it still made me happy, so it's not a problem.
ありがとうございます。
In any case, I'll just have to deal with it until lunch break is over. Despite acting like I was perfectly fine, my stomach had actually started to hurt more as time passed. I sat down on the ground. Never would have thought the prospect of putting on weight would be such a happy thought to me. Seeing me like that, Miu let out a strangely absent-minded voice. What's wrong? No, wait. You really don't have to worry about me.
どうしても気にはなっちゃいますよ。
Miu circled around behind me as she spoke. As I wondered what she was doing, she grabbed my shoulders from behind and pulled me back. Oh? I let Miu do whatever she was doing, and soon enough I felt my head being propped up on something. Then I saw Miu's face and the blue sky above me. Below me, I felt something wonderfully soft on the back of my head, and my nostrils were filled with a lovely floral scent. Le pillow? Miu was surprised by my sudden exclamation.
苦しそうだったからなんですけど、嫌でしたか？
I couldn't dream of not liking it. Thank you very much.
敬語なんですね。
I was just surprised, alright?
突然思いついちゃって。
Man, even about this sort of thing, you're still sharp as a tack. I was constantly surprised at how Miu had started proactively holding my hand and showing her affection. I didn't expect her to adapt to her new role as my girlfriend so quickly. Normally, I'm the type to surprise other people, not vice versa. I've started to dote on Miu more than anyone else, except maybe Michiru.
私も膝枕なんて初めてでわからないんですけど、頭の位置とか首とか大丈夫ですか？
No problems here. I'm happy as can be. To tell the truth, Miu's thighs were a little harder than I expected, but that was probably just because she was young and had some more growing to do. That didn't matter to me though. Anyone who'd complain about such a trivial thing in this situation ought to get trampled to death by a unicorn. Now then. Actually, I'm a lot bigger and heavier than you are. Doesn't my head feel a bit heavy for you?
お昼休みの終わりくらいまでなら、とりあえず大丈夫です。
So it really was heavy. I thought about getting off her at that point, but I figured that refusing her generosity would be kind of rude. And besides, I didn't really want to get up. Yeah, scratch that.
これ耳かきがあればよかったですね。
Next time.
今度？
I'll let you do it. I couldn't help but dote on her.
わかりました。
Miu smiled happily. It was such a pleasant feeling, I ended up reflexively yawning at a weird time.
レイ先輩、
What is it?
好きって さい。
I love you.
私も好きです。
At that point, Miu lifted my head up and bent over to bring our faces closer together. She kissed me on the forehead. It was just a light touch, so it didn't even make a sound.
ピロッ。
Yeep! Feeling a strange sort of pleasure from the lewd, moist feeling on my face at that moment, I reflexively let out a yelp. Without a doubt, I had just been licked. My heart skipped a beat, but when I looked at Miu, I saw Miu's genuinely happy smile for what was quite possibly the first time. Miu continued to shower gentle kisses on my face, my forehead, my eyelids, my cheek, the tip of my nose. What little surprise I still felt was soon overwhelmed by my simultaneous feelings of joy. A rain of kisses. Naturally, there was no need for an umbrella.
レイ先輩、好き。好きです。
Her affection was straightforward and unabashed, as if she had no reason to hide her feelings anymore. Ah, crap, I'm getting too excited. No, it'd be weirder if I didn't get excited right now. But I wanted the mood for our first time to be a little better than this, for Miu's sake, of course. Ah, what the hell, might as well just go with a wholesome mood for now. Miu, hold still.
What?
Miu looked at me blankly, but she did as I said. I lifted my head off her thighs and stood up. And then... the... My excitement at a fever pitch, I held Miu in my arms and lifted her up towards the bright blue summer sky. I felt like I could carry her all the way back to the first year classrooms this way. Miu screamed with fright as I spun her around like a merry-go-round. But the fright in her voice was soon replaced with laughter. I'm gonna make you happy, Miu.
もう幸せです。
ほら、我が輩を無視するでない。
Then I'm gonna make you even happier.
一緒にです。
おい、だから我が輩もいるのだぞ。
Alright already, I'll just have to make everyone happy in one fell swoop then. Under summer's blue sky, I made a new promise. From that moment on, tick-tock, tick-tock. This is the conclusion, but not the end. The hands of time will continue to turn. Even when the magic spell on Cinderella broke, that was not the end of her story. Every second, every minute, every hour, day, month and year, a whole new world, which no one can foresee, unfolds before our eyes. The future is a world of endless possibilities. And so, we'll face it with a smile. For our summer has only just begun. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Happily ever after, indeed.
Chrono Clock.
And we are back at the title screen. Let's take a look at Miu's bonus scenes. Here's the first one. Though our story had reached its happily ever after, time didn't stop there. Solving one problem didn't mean we had a future devoid of worries ahead of us. The end of one thing is the start of another. I was no exception. I was now faced with a new problem. This would be the kind of story that'd make you laugh, and I'd probably get chewed out for not taking it seriously enough. But for me, it was a very real problem to deal with. Man, I wanna fuck. Such was the dumb thought I had while gazing up at the evening sky, trying to chill my fevered head one night. Actually voicing it out loud made me cringe. But like I said, for me, it was a very real problem to deal with. Well, you could just masturbate, you know. The source of my blue balls at that moment was Miu, the person whom I had just become lovers with. Things were just like back when we pretended to be lovers. We would hold hands, sleep in each other's lap, hug each other from behind. Miu didn't make a habit of hiding her affection. She continued to be defenseless in my presence. She was so defenseless, it was adorable in fact. Yes, it was a purely innocent affection. I wouldn't say that her actions were completely devoid of sexual intent, but they were so innocent that I found myself at an impasse. I had no idea if she wanted to do that stuff with me or not. Well, you know, you could just ask her. I kept worrying about it. Well, it's definitely something where mutual consent is paramount, and since I am the man in the relationship, I can't just force her into it. All things considered, Miu still wasn't the most physically developed girl. I had a feeling that maybe if I cared about her this much, it might be wiser to wait a few more years. But every day we'd hug each other, smile at each other, kiss each other. Ah, shit, here I was trying to calm myself down, and now I'm too excited to think straight. Maybe I should just jerk off. All of a sudden, I heard a strange sort of squeal. What was that? I slipped on my sandals and went into the garden. Miu? What was she doing here at this hour? And the way she was acting, she must have heard me talking about wanting to jerk off. I was embarrassed as well, but my embarrassment seemed paltry compared to Miu's. She was fumbling her words, completely red in the face. Well, anyway, here, come on, into my room. I didn't want the situation to get weirder, so I quickly took Miu by the hand and led her into my room. Do you want something to drink? Miu spoke with extremely apparent nervousness. I had a strange feeling about all this. Miu had come to hang out at my place a lot since that time, though Michiru or Misaki would usually be with her. But tonight, it was just the two of us. Wait, does that mean what I think it does? Tilting my head to the side, Miu let out a gentle sigh.
突然すみません。でも急に先輩に会いたくなっちゃって。
At this hour? What about your dad?
今日はお父さんが仕事で泊まりになっちゃって、うちに一人で、明日はお休みだし、みちるちゃんの家に泊まりに行くって電話で許可ももらってきてます。
Michiru's house?
嘘はついてません。
True. After all, this was Michiru's house too. If you don't mind me asking, did you tell Michiru about this?
いえ、みちるちゃんには内緒でここに。
I see. So I guess she came here looking for me after all. And I guess I'm not dreaming or anything either. That was the sole conclusion I could come to. Then, in an attempt to break the awkward silence between us, Miu spoke up.
レイ先輩、オナニーしちゃいましたか？
Before my sexual excitement could get into my head, I couldn't help but wonder how someone could be so adorable. Was this alright? Could I really do this stuff with her? I'd been agonizing all night over this, but I guess if you dangle meat in front of an animal's cage, they can't resist the temptation. Well, whatever. It was definitely befitting of Miu to act on an idea she had with all due haste like that. All things considered, there was no point in dilly-dallying around with idle conversation now. I took Miu by the hand. She went red as a beet, letting out a cry of surprise. Miu, you're such a bad girl.
私、悪い子って言われたの、生まれて初めてです。でも、はい。今日、ミュウは悪い子になりに来ました。
Am I a wolf now?
私が赤ずきんですね。
Is it okay if I gobble you up?
はい。
Nervousness and expectation filled her eyes. I tugged on her arm, pulling her into my chest.
緊張します。
And cut! I'll see you in a second. August, the midway point of summer break. In other words, it was the period where one needed a planned approach to deal with the boatload of assigned homework or risk serious trouble. I wasn't the type to spend the dying days of summer crying over how I didn't do my homework. Nor was I diligent enough to finish it all during the first half of the break. As a result, there came a particular day where Miu and I opted to study together. School was our meeting place. If it were my room, Michiru or GD might end up disturbing us, and not only that, well, we'd probably just end up wanting to fuck. Well, as long as I'm with Miu, I can enjoy myself no matter where we are or what we do.
そうですね。
Miu's face beamed with a smile upon hearing my happy little mumblings. She wasn't like, huh? Or, what are you talking about? Either. We were getting along like we always did. Our present location, the completely empty second-year classroom. We'd been focusing on our respective homework together all morning, so now we were taking a break for lunch. In any case, Miu, you really are something else. I stretched out my back as I spoke my admiration. I know how your intelligence allowed you to skip a grade and all, but wow, you can even handle my own work too.
勉強のことでしたら、まあ。
Miu gave me an embarrassed smile. I didn't know what she had to be embarrassed about. She was helping me with the parts I didn't get after all. Like, I'm supposed to be your senior here. I feel like I've been upstaged.
あ、なんだか、ごめんなさい。
I'm not really complaining though. Thanks. I pat her head and Miu squeaked like a small animal. It's just that I've always wanted to see what it was like to help my junior with her studies.
それならみちるちゃん、あ、いえ、なんでもないです。
Yes, my sister can afford to throw normal studies to the wind. Still, I've made progress. I flipped through the pages of my homework. We had covered a lot of ground in the morning. I'll be able to enjoy the rest of my summer this year.
よかったですね。
I'll be enjoying it with you, of course.
そっか、予約ですね。それなら午後も頑張らないと。
It's thanks to you, Miu.
私の？
It didn't look like the girl genius knew what I was trying to say this time. You were so focused on your own homework that I got motivated too.
そうなんですか。
If I were with my guy friends, we'd end up talking or start playing games in the middle of it.
それは女の子同士でも同じですよ。
Fair enough.
ところで、お昼なんですけど。はい、
Did you make a lunchbox?
頑張ってきました。
Miu smiled and looked proud. I was happy too. We held hands and went to our special place. Doesn't look like anyone's here. I muttered as I gave the rooftop a once-over. There were students who chose to go to school like us today, but they had club activities. No one was at this rooftop bathed in sunlight.
暑いですけど風が気持ちいいですね。
Miu breathed the clean air. If you thought about her age, it only made sense that she would want to spend the entire day playing in the sun. I sat down and Miu sat in front of me. Oh yeah, this seems like a good opportunity to ask you this.
はい、
Have you ever felt like skipping grades was a loss?
そうですか？
Like you can't see your old friends and you're also spending less time being a student? It crossed my mind because we were studying earlier.
そうですね。
It looks like Miu felt the same way.
前までの友達とはやっぱり疎遠になっちゃいましたね。仲の良かったことも今はメールとか電話でしか話さなくなっちゃってますし。
Don't you feel lonely?
寂しいですけど、でもそれ以上に嬉しいことばかりですから。
Good things?
先輩、そこは気づいてくださいよ。だって私が飛び級してなかったら先輩にも会えてなかったんですよ。
Oh. I see. I understood, but also felt like blushing.
だから損だなんて全然考えてませんでした。美咲ちゃんやみちるちゃんやクラスのみんなと友達になれて私は本当に幸せ者です。
I see, I see.
何かそういう質問をしたくなるようなこと私しました？
No, we were just studying, so I thought I'd ask. It was something I considered doing over when I got a hold of Chrono's Clock. Miu was straightforward like she always was. That's why I hadn't felt the need to reach for my pocket watch lately. I just wanted to make sure you were happy. Yes. It all began on this rooftop. If I hadn't met Miu like that back then, I would have been obsessed by my new toy and lose something much more important. I wouldn't have been able to move forward. I would have been stuck in a loop, rewinding decision after decision. And if not for that clock, Miu and I wouldn't be here now. If one of those things didn't exist, our lives would never have been entwined. Yeah. I looked grave for once.
先輩？
If you weren't here, I wouldn't be the me I am now.
別の世界のお話とかですか？
Well, it's not that serious. But I'm really glad that I fell in love with you, Miu.
そんな何度も言わなくても恥ずかしいです。
So cute! Ah, I'm turned on. No, that is not why we are here today. Our first time had my mind running straight to sex. I didn't want to force Miu, so I was careful about choosing our second time. We haven't even had lunch yet. It was a disgrace, so I put my lust above my appetite.
先輩。
Hmm?
私もレイ先輩がいなかったら今の私と違っていたと思います。性格も考え方もこんな素敵な思いも知らない子供のまま。
Great. What's going on? My heart's racing. Miu seems much cuter than usual. The word alluring springs to mind even.
先輩。
Miu suddenly moved closer to me. Our hands touched, then intertwined. It was a purely natural kiss. One where our lips grazed against each other, a gentle sort of kiss. But it felt uplifting and it made me feel fulfilled. This was a really nice mood. Huh? She's really assertive today. Was Miu unable to restrain herself from the very thing I'd been holding back?
レイ先輩。
Sure enough, Mio's eyes looked at me with a desire when our faces parted. Wow. Well, studying does back you up. Do serious girls lose control once they've tasted the pleasures of sex?
私そう思う。
Mio's fidgeting only made her look cuter. She couldn't seem to get the words out. Seeing that was enough to flip my switch. Here? It didn't look like Mio had thought of doing it anywhere other than here. It seemed reckless if you thought about it. Although people didn't come here, it would be risky to do it on the rooftop on a regular school day, but it would be fine right now because it's summer vacation. Well then, please take care of me, I guess.
よろしくお願いします。
Mio could only nod and agree with how nervous she was.
それで、先輩、じっとしててもらっていいですか？
Hmm? I was ready to grab hold of her, so it took the wind out of my sail.
予習してきたことがあって、試してみたいんですけど、いいです。
Try? Okay. Even I understood what she wanted to do. Fellatio, huh? She was so straightforward about it that I thought she lacked tact, but if she wanted to do it, I wasn't about to deny her. Please, go right ahead.
じゃあ、頑張ります。
Mio blushed as she got into it. She bent forward and reached for my pants. And cut! I'll see you in a second. And that's it! We reached the end of this read-through of Chrono Clock. And it was pretty good. I really enjoyed this VN. Anyway, as always after I finish a read-through, I have to think about what I'm going to do next. Well, I already have a few ideas. If you have any suggestions or requests regarding future playthroughs, let me know in the comment section below. I'm always interested in what my viewers would like to see. Okay then, that's it from me for now, and as always, thanks so very much for watching everyone, and have a nice day. Bye bye!